Castles in fairy tales are places of magic where dreams come true and people live happily ever after. But what happens when those same castles become places of pain, sorrows, and no return? This is Elmina Castle, one of such places, once a fortress of power, now a haunting reminder of the horrors of the transatlantic slave trade. Built in 1482 by the Portuguese, the castle served as a trading post before becoming a major center for holding slaves during the Atlantic slave trade. Time to explore. Let's see what's inside the building. The castle is divided into two main sections: the dungeons where the slaves are kept pending transportation, and the governor's lodge where the slave masters and higher ranking officers stay with their staff. So let's take a look at the male dungeon. We are currently walking into the male dungeon, and this is where the male slaves are kept pending transportation. And from here, the sick and the dying ones are kept in a separate room, while the able-bodied men are transferred from this place to the next room, which is the point of transfer from this dungeon into the ship on arrival. During transfer, this door, though narrow, became a gateway for the fates of thousands of men passing through it daily, not knowing what lies beyond the door and ahead of them. The female dungeon, just like the male dungeon, were able to accommodate over 150 to 200 women at a time. Women that were brought from different parts of Africa. Some were brought from Ghana, from Burkina Faso, from Togo, from Niger, Mali, Benin, Cameroon, from Cote d'Ivoire, and even from Nigeria. All these women were able to put themselves in together in this tiny place without ventilation, with little to no food, and
The largest field was like 150 of the women were sleeping on the floor as hard as it is. There were no means of convenience. The empty containers were placed at the various countries for them to ease themselves. But they were not coming from Ghana alone to the same Burkina Faso, Togo, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Cameroon, and the rest. They were all brought in here. It took them 1 to 2 months before they arrived because in the olden days there were no cars. So they had to walk barefooted from their various countries to the States. Some were even left at the expense of our wild animals and forests. And when they got it, they were very weak. And as women do have their administration, practically they did everything on the floor. That is why you cannot underestimate the stench and the heat over here. And as a result, most of them died. And when they died, they were not buried, they were removed and thrown into the ocean for the fish to feed. They gave them something small to eat just to keep them alive. Some ate, some refused to eat, they preferred to die. And they never had a chance of killing their meat nor perfect. And all this before it was closed, the whole over there led to another room called the magazine, where they get their ammunition, where there's a leakage. The contrast came straight to this room and was saying, really bad situation. If they would actually eat for profit, why let them die? To me, it doesn't make sense. And they will give you two answers. They said, one, Africans are very strong people. Giving them the normal conditions here, we made them fight back. And those who survive through these brutalities were the strong Africans who worked when they get the new. So in a way, they were trying to eliminate the weaker ones from the stronger ones. But if we are sincere for an answer, in the olden days, it was very cheap to come by them. If it was very, very expensive to get one person into the landings, then they will make sure that the fellows and the normal want to get a profit, the actual investment that they don't care. That is why, to me, the intention of their coming wasn't to trade, but to loot or steal, not peace, but war, the partnership that they enslaved. These were brought here to pay tribute to those who died. Some became mistresses and stayed longer up there. When the ships came, those found pregnant were subsequently freed or liberated, but due to the long go from the hinterland, some didn't choose their way back. And this partly explains why along the coast of our country we have mulattoes, the light colored skin. And also the Europeans, they know when they have children to go wayward or astray, so they built houses in town kept those pregnant women over there. 4 or 5 years later, they went for their children, brought them back here, and gave them formal education. Fortunately, there was a Portuguese woman who came here, bought a ring, wrote something asking for forgiveness on behalf of the people.
Also, for the women that refuse or resist the guards and the masters, they were brought from the dungeon, chained at their ankle, made to polish this bowl, standing all day without food or water. For the dying men, they were placed in a room called the Skull and the Cross. This is where they know they're not going to come out. Nobody that goes in here comes out alive. This is just for the people that are weak and that can't continue on this journey. They are left here to die by themselves. Heading to the governor's lodge now, and contrary to the slave dungeon, the governor's lodge looks much bigger, proper ventilated, and overlooks the ocean. It's equipped with standard kitchen and an officer's mess. The lodge has a rooftop where the generals and governor take their tea and hold certain meetings. The rooftop is also lined with cannons used to ward off invaders and for securing the castle, which still remains up until today. Far ahead, up in the hill, is the Fort Saint Jago, built by the Dutch. Some soldiers were positioned there to watch on the land. Very close to the castle is the Benya Lagoon, known for its busy fishing harbor for the local boats and place for entertainment for the locals. Thank you very much for watching this video and see you in my next. Bye.